Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into something, well, incredibly important to all of us, right? I mean, who here hasn't worried about their kids' well-being at some point? We're talking about supporting your child's mental health, and we've got some really, really solid advice to unpack.
Absolutely. Should be a good one.
So we found this article. Actually, it's more like a concise guide that really resonated. They break it down into what they say are the 5 most impactful ways parents can, make a difference. We want to really dive into those.
Yeah, let's do it.
First up, they talk about building a safe environment. Sounds obvious on the surface, right?
Right. Yeah.
But what does that actually mean in the trenches of everyday life with kids?
Totally. It's about making it crystal clear to your child that their feelings are valid. Whatever they're going through, it's okay. And the key here is really listening without judgment, especially when it's tough. Like, picture this. Your child is totally stressed about a test coming up. Now, instead of jumping in with solutions or, you'll be fine, just hear them out, really listen, and more importantly, let them know you get it.
That makes so much sense. It's like you're not saying their worries are silly or unimportant. You're validating those feelings.
Exactly. And here's the wild part. Get this. That feeling of safety, it actually impacts their brain development, like literally shapes their brains. When a kid feels safe expressing themselves, their brains release hormones, oxytocin being a big one. And think of oxytocin like a brain hug. Seriously.
Brain hug, I like that.
Right. It helps them feel connected, less stressed, and those positive experiences actually influence how their brains deal with stress later in life.
Wow. So it's not just about being understanding in that moment. It's like you're building a foundation for them to handle future stress too.
You got it. And that ties in perfectly with our next tip, which is being super attentive to any changes in their behavior.
Oh, this one is huge, GE. And honestly, kind of intimidating, right? As parents, we're already juggling a million things. How are we supposed to pick up on subtle shifts in our kids when life's so chaotic?
I hear you, it's definitely a challenge. But even amidst the chaos, even if it feels impossible, try to pay attention to things like, have their sleep patterns changed? Are they suddenly withdrawing from activities they used to love? And academically, how are their grades? Any dips or changes there? Now, these might seem like small blips on the radar, but they can be signals, red flags even, that something's up.
It's like those early warning signs we sometimes miss because, well, we're in the thick of it. Okay, so we've got this safe haven. We're on high alert for changes. Now, how do we give our kids the tools to actually manage those big, overwhelming feelings?
This is where teaching coping mechanisms comes into play. That's number 3.
And one that I think is so powerful, and we're hearing more about it, is mindfulness. And I used to think mindfulness was this big, complicated practice. But honestly, it can be as simple as teaching your child to, just take a few deep breaths when they're feeling overwhelmed.
You nailed it. And as simple as it sounds, mindfulness has actually been scientifically proven, like we have studies on this, to reduce stress hormones, mainly cortisol. Just a few minutes of focused breathing can lower their heart rate, calm things down.
It's like hitting the pause button on their stress response.
Exactly. And the cool part is there are so many easy ways to make mindfulness a part of your routine.
Hmm.
Like even trying some mindful breathing exercises together before bed, or even just encouraging your kiddo to focus on their senses for a minute. What do they see, hear, smell, taste, touch? Just bringing them back to the present moment.
So important. Little pockets of calm throughout the day. Oh, and of course, we can't forget the power of good old-fashioned physical activity.
Oh, absolutely. That's number 4 on the list, encouraging physical activity. And it really doesn't have to be organized sports or anything like that. We're talking dancing, a spontaneous game of tag at the park, even just a quick walk around the block together.
Seriously, sometimes just getting those bodies moving can change everything.
Big time. It's a fantastic outlet for kids to release all that pent-up energy, and it does wonders for their mood.
Okay, so we've covered a lot, but this last one, it's crucial, maybe the most important of all. They emphasize seeking professional help if it's needed.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to really emphasize this. There is absolutely zero shame in reaching out for help from a professional. If you're at all concerned about your child's mental well-being, please reach out. A therapist, counselor, someone who's dedicated to this. Early intervention can make a world of difference.
It really can. It's like anything else, the earlier you address it, the better. And remember, you're not alone on this. There are so many people and resources out there ready to help.
So true. And as you navigate this whole journey of being a parent, of supporting your child's mental health, remember these tips are tools. Even if you just pick 1 or 2 to focus on, it can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. Just start somewhere. And I think the biggest takeaway for me, and maybe this is something for everyone listening to think about, You know how they talked about creating that safe space for your kid to open up? I think we as parents, we need to give ourselves permission to do the same.
Oh, 100%.
It's easy to feel like we have to have it all together, but talking to someone, whether it's a therapist or even a trusted friend, it can be life-changing. You don't have to carry the weight of the world alone. And who knows, maybe by showing ourselves a little grace, we can even be better role models for our kids.
I love that. Sometimes just acknowledging that it's tough out there, that's the first step to getting the support we need for ourselves and for our kids.
Couldn't agree more. Well, on that note, a huge thank you to everyone for joining us for another deep dive. And remember, you've got this. We're all in this together.